Hi folks, Ron Bates here with the SOLIDWORKS Visualize R&D team. I wanted to take a few minutes to make this video and highlight some rather significant improvements in SP2. If you happen to see the release notes, there were a couple of line items mentioned, and in particular were these two: improved viewport interactivity and downscaling performance in fast and accurate render modes, as well as reference to the options that go along with the fast rendering mode now. So if you're not familiar, fast is the second option here in your heads-up display, and what you'll find in SP2 is you go to Tools, Options, 3D Viewport. This section here has been revised a little bit and now simply says Optimize for speed, Optimize for quality. The difference that we call out here, as you can see in the release note here, and it's in a tooltip in the product, speed is recommended for highest interactivity in the viewport, quality recommended for final renders. Although I will say your mileage is going to vary with each of them, and in some cases, well, you be the judge of which one is going to give you the best performance and quality trade-off. So the way I want to show this to you is actually look at 4 renders, all done on the same machine, of course, all with NVIDIA Quadro K2100M, which is my laptop. These, at the moment, are all fast renders, or rendered using the fast mode. So in the top left here, we have SP1, and this is with the SP1 option for fast mode shadow off. Now, I don't think this is even a default, and as you can see, it's a pretty flat image. As the option sort of says, there's no real shadowing, and there's a ground shadow, but that's it. There's no self-shadowing, no inner shadows between objects, like for example where these bolts are, where these posts are, in here, along this edge here, along this edge here. So everything's kind of flat. Now, if I draw your attention over to the right, I'm going to pick up the laser pen for all this, I think. This is what I would call in SP2 the quote-unquote equivalent. And what I mean is this is the fastest mode possible. This is fast rendering mode with the option set to speed. As you can see, this took 68 seconds, where SP1, this was 76 seconds. In SP2, in 68 seconds, we're now getting some inner shadow between objects, a little bit of inner reflection between objects, and it's just overall got a bit more depth and more realistic, and was even faster in this particular case. So that alone is good. Let's take a look on the bottom left where we have SP1 fast mode shadow high quality, which is probably how most people are running fast mode today most of the time. So this took 112 seconds, and you can see it's a lot more realistic. We have a lot more depth. There's inner shadows happening now where you would expect them everywhere. You know, all these areas that I'm sort of highlighting here now have some extra shadow and depth, and yeah, it has more realism as a result. So I'll come back to refer to this image in a moment, but let's look over here at the right, the bottom right, SP2. This is the fast mode set to the quality option, 117 seconds, so nearly the same time. Your mileage is going to vary on every scene. Generally, you can expect this mode to be as fast, sometimes faster than SP1. The trade-off in quality is significant, and I will go into that in a moment. But if we look at some of those same areas, here where those bolts are, here where these posts are, right in here where this orange top piece is next to the silver here, in these cavities. I'm highlighting these areas because this is where we're actually now getting multiple inner reflections. So the easiest place to see this is this bolt head here. Now, besides having some shadow, which it would have naturally, you are also getting inner reflection between the bolt head itself and the orange surface there. You are also picking up a little bit of orange now from this surface onto the blurry metal right here. So I think another way to really highlight these differences and compare them is to look at what you would get with an accurate render. So this now on the bottom, both of these images are exactly the same on the bottom left and the bottom right. They're both an accurate render, 500 passes, took about 7 minutes. If we stay focused on the bottom left and I switch between these, so back to fast, blending in accurate on top, I think you can see quite easily how fast mode in SP1 had a sort of, well, the easiest way to describe it is it seemed as though the shadows were overdone. And in fact, they kind of were, because essentially you weren't getting all the reflections you should have gotten. You were just getting shadows. Or in some cases, if you had a reflection on a blurry surface, that reflection was there, but it was a dark reflection. It wasn't an accurate reflection. So as I switch between these, you see all the things you're sort of, there's no inner reflection happening here. There's no inner reflection there. This is arbitrarily sort of dark in here. Again, I'll switch to accurate one more time so we can see these things in their accurate counterpart. Now, let's go look at the bottom right and do the same switching between the two. That's fast quality. That's accurate on top. Fast, accurate, fast, accurate. And I think you can see as I do this, there is very little difference. There's a slight difference, but it's pretty marginal. The main thing is you're now getting, for example, here's accurate mode where you get this reflection here, you get the orange here, you get these inner reflections in here, in the post. Let's look at fast. Boom, everything's the same. All those areas look, all those areas look almost exactly the same. And in SP2, it only took 117 seconds, nearly 3 times as fast as accurate. So obviously the point is now that fast mode really can rival accurate and give you your final production quality renders in a significantly shorter amount of time, which is a great thing. So with that, I am going to show the interactivity improvements as best I can. I will preface it and say that trying to do screen capture of this interactive stuff is a little difficult because the notion or practice of screen recording while you're doing it is going to have an impact on the performance, but I still think that you can actually capture the difference in these videos that I've made, so we'll jump into those real quick and take a look at them. So here's SP1. I've gone into easy mode and put turned off all the dialogues. I have fast mode shadow off right now, and this is okay. What I'm trying to do is quickly switch from zooming, panning, and rotating, and I'm starting the action with the mouse, and I lift up the mouse and I put the mouse down again. So there's a lot of mouse up, mouse down, just to kind of navigate around, and it's okay. But you can see it's like right now it's quite behind. Like it's not really keeping up with my mouse. And this is, again, with fast mode shadow off, which isn't even the default. I mean, I don't get a ground shadow or anything, right? So let's turn on fast mode shadow. And, okay, really quite sticky, right? Like, I'm just sort of randomly, like, flying around. But you can see it's always behind my cursor. So that's SP1. Let's take a look at SP2. Okay, let's take a look at SP2. I'm going to turn off these heads-up displays, so we're looking at roughly the same thing. So I have fast mode, obviously, with the optimize for speed option on at the moment, and it is quite interactive. Again, it may not be showing perfectly well in the video recording here, but I can say once you stop video recording, the model does not lag behind the cursor in any way. So again, this is using the optimize for speed, and actually looks quite a bit better than SP1 in my opinion, and again is extremely interactive. If I turn on the optimize for quality option, it looks much more realistic, yet I can still interact with it quite well. I don't get that issue where it feels like it's stuck behind my cursor. It's just sort of always naturally keeping up with the cursor as I move. So that's SP2. Now I want to mention something. I actually did purposely play a little fast one here and actually did this video using CPU only mode. So what you just saw in SP2 would be what you would experience if you didn't even have a GPU. If I actually turn on GPU mode, it will be, of course, it will be even faster. Now the actual interactivity and downscaling, it's going to actually feel roughly the same even if you have CPU only mode on. The main difference is going to be the speed at which it refines and produces the final quality image. But yes, this is what's in SP2. I highly recommend folks get it, try it, and hope you enjoy. Cheers.